Hi, this is khee from LWood and Christie's International in beautiful Southwest Florida. Today I'm with Miguel Diaz from Bankers Title, and we wanted to share with you some tips about when you're closing and what we might help you avoid before you get to the closing table. So before I do that, I'd like Miguel to introduce himself. Miguel?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Kathy, for having me here. My name is Miguel Diaz, and I'm the Senior Account Executive for Bankers Title. And we are here to kind of talk a little bit about tips and just a couple of knowledge and key points that you need to know of the items needed before and the day of closing.
Right. Some things to avoid we hope we'll educate you on. So the first is you've put a contract in, and the name is not khee, but it's Khee LLC. What do you do with that information, Miguel?
So when the buyer is signing under an LLC, the first thing that I need to verify is that LLC on Sunbiz, or if it's an LLC in a different state, I make sure and I verify that LLC is active. Because if it's inactive for whatever reason, and you want to close and have that ownership under that name, it needs to be active.
Okay, perfect. Another tip that we would like to advise you on is if you're buying into a community that has an HOA, then there often is a sales application that is required. There may be a fee involved, a small fee, $100, $150 to apply. But the most important thing is those applications have time frames. They could be 10 days, 20 days, 30 days prior to closing. So you really need to fill out this application and get it done immediately after you put your contract in. And why is this important? Why is this important to Miguel? Why is this information important to you?
So, well, one of the biggest things is not only can that process delay your closing, and that, it's not good for anybody. Another thing is that by doing that application, it gives us the opportunity to order an estoppel on your behalf of that property.
An estoppel?
Yeah.
What's that? Estoppel.
So an estoppel is basically, it just gives me the rules and regulations of that particular HOA. Also, it gives me final numbers for your HOA dues, which is going to be most likely monthly. Some associations, however, are a little bit different. Each association is going to be different because each of them have their own rules and regulations. So one of them may charge you an HOA due monthly. Another one may do it quarterly. So that can be different.
Right. There are also maybe transfer fees involved. There may be assessments. All of that will be in this information that Miguel will provide you 2 to 3 days before closing.
Yes. Along
with the amount that you will be required to pay at closing.
And also remember always that your HOA dues are they're completely different. They're not attached to your mortgage, to your insurance, to your escrow.
Taxes.
That is directly to the association.
Correct. Now, we're finally at or near the closing date. Miguel has all of his information. You're ready to close. What's most important? We need to do a walkthrough of that property, because during the inspection period, there might have been some things that you have elected that the seller take care of and remedy prior to closing. So it's really important that we actually go there together and do that walkthrough, either a day or two before, depending upon the seller's schedule and when they've moved out, when they've have the house broom swept clean, and they've remediated all of the items that you've elected for them to repair.
Yes.
So we go to the property, and let's say the electric's not on. Well, then I can't try that dishwasher that was supposed to be fixed. The Wi-Fi is not on. I don't know if the Sonos system is even working, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So these things have to be on: the electric, the Wi-Fi, the water. So let's say the water is on and the dishwasher was said to be repaired, and we have those receipts from the seller's agent saying that they were supposed to be remedied. Well, now my buyer is upset because this is not fixed? Or how about the garage is still full of items that were supposed to be taken out of the garage? Now what do we do, Miguel? The closing is supposed to happen tomorrow.
Don't panic. The closing still happens. However, what we do to remediate all of this, all of this doubt as well as cost, because you're the buyer, if a dishwasher wasn't fixed, that's a cost to you, right? So therefore, what we do is that we have an escrow holdback of that, or whatever that new dishwasher is going to cost. We make sure to take that that X amount of money, we hold it from the seller's proceeds, because that was in terms negotiated, right? Mm-hmm. So if he didn't go through with that, we make sure that you're still protected on that end.
Great. Whew. Thank you.
You can still close.
You can breathe easy now.
Yes.
Now we're getting to the closing table. And Miguel at Bankers Title, they do an excellent job. And I highly recommend that you use them. So now you're all set, and your grandmother wants to come to the closing, your kids want to come, and what do you bring? What's necessary in order to have a smooth closing, Miguel?
So everybody, you can invite whoever you want to that closing table, okay? We do not shy away from anybody. That is your experience. You can choose whoever you want to be there. However, you are the buyer. I need you to provide either a Florida ID or a state ID, a driver's license, or a valid passport to confirm your identity. That's the biggest thing that I need for you to bring to the closing table at the day of your closing.
We need that, else you cannot close. What else do we need?
So the other thing that we need is going to be your cash to close. We're going to need that prior to signing those papers, because that is basically the funds that you need in order to finalize the sale of that property.
So I've got a briefcase of $100 bills. Is that okay?
No, please. We only accept certified checks or a wire. So wires.
A wire? Uh-oh.
Yes. So wires, depending on your bank, it can take up to 24 hours or a couple hours. So smaller banks typically take longer to send wires. If you have any one of these big branch banks like a Wells Fargo, Chase, JP Morgan, Chase, or any of these big banks, they typically do it in a couple hours. So just make sure to send in that cash to close before the time of your closing.
So my spouse is on the mortgage. Does she have to be there? And she's working. She can't really come to your office. How do we close that way?
So that's no worries. If your spouse, so if you are legally married, your spouse legally has to sign on that mortgage. But if she's not able to be there, not to worry. We have the means to get somebody over to her, directly to her. So I mean, let's say, so like for example, I had a client who the lady was a nurse. Her husband was able to make it. Nurse could not make it. She has nurse hours. They're very strange hours. So what we did is that we send the notaries directly to the hospital.
Perfect. At
8 p.m. to sign her up. And those are the type of things that we know that can happen in our field. But we try to, just accommodate to everybody.
These are the services, concierge services,
absolutely,
that Bankers Title offers you and can offer you, as well as khee from John R. Wood. So we hope that you've enjoyed today's tips and things to consider before closing, things to avoid. We hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions on title at all, please reach out to Miguel at.
You can reach me directly to my cell phone. My cell phone is 305-797-7404, or feel free to email me at mdiaz@bankerst.com.
That's great. If you're headed down to Southwest Florida, please give me a call, khee, 802-363-2411, or you can view all my properties, single-family homes, investment properties, condos, on the beach, in the golfing community at khee.com. Thank you so much for your time today. Bye
Take care.